guys, it's Katrina. With the increasing use of internet these days, it's common for people to self-diagnose themselves online. I have been clinically diagnosed with ADHD, and in today's video I'm going to see how accurate the internet is in diagnosing my ADHD. The first question is, how often do you have difficulty sustaining your attention while doing something for work, school, a hobby, or fun activity? I do sometimes find that difficult, so I'll put in sometimes. How often are you easily distracted by external stimuli, like something in your environment or unrelated thoughts? I do agree with this one. External stimuli can distract me, so I'll put in often. How often do you avoid, dislike, or are reluctant to engage in tasks that require sustained mental effort or thought? I do this one frequently. If there's a task that requires a lot of thought, I'm more likely to procrastinate, so I'll put in often. How often do you have trouble listening to someone, even when they are directly speaking to you, like your mind is somewhere else? That does sometimes happen with me, like if I'm in a conversation, I do sometimes zone out, so I'll put in sometimes. How often do you have difficulty in organizing a task or activity needing to be done? Like my time management isn't great, so I will put in sometimes. How often do you fail to give close attention to details or make careless mistakes in things such as schoolwork, at work, or during other activities? I do sometimes do this, like I do miss close details, so I'll put in sometimes. How often do you forget to do something you do all the time, such as missing an appointment or paying a bill? I think this one's not too bad. If I do it all the time, it becomes a routine thing, so I'll put in rarely. How often do you lose, misplace, or damage something that's necessary in order to get things done? I do lose my phone and keys around the house a lot, so I'll put in often. How often do you have trouble following through on instructions or fail to finish schoolwork, chores, or duties in the workplace? I do sometimes have difficulty following instructions, but I do get it done in the end, so I will put in sometimes. How often are you unable to play or engage in leisurely activities quietly? I think this one's not too bad. I could do leisurely activities quietly, but I would prefer if it wasn't too quiet, so I'll put in rarely. How often do you have difficulty waiting your turn, such as while waiting in a line? I'd say this one's not too bad. I wouldn't call myself an impatient person, so I'll put in rarely. How often do you feel like you're on the go, acting as if you're driven by a motor? For example, you're uncomfortable sitting still for a long period of time. I'm personally not affected by the hyperactivity side. I'm only affected by the attention deficit side, so I'll put in rarely. How often do you leave your seat in situations when remaining seating is expected? Like I said, the hyperactivity side doesn't affect me, so that one's going to be never. How often do you blurt out an answer before a question has been completed? For example, completing another person's sentence or can't wait your turn in a conversation. I think this does sometimes happen. I won't say it happens a lot, so I'll put in rarely. How often do you feel restless, like you want to get out and do something? I wouldn't call myself restless, so I'll put in never. How often do you fidget with or tap your hands and feet or squirm in your seat? I never squirm in my seat, but I do occasionally fidget with my hands, so that's going to be rarely. How often do you find yourself talking excessively? I wouldn't say I talk excessively because with autism, I do find it hard to take part in conversation. I'll put in never. How often do you interrupt or intrude on others, such as butting into their conversation or take over what others are doing? I personally don't do this, so I'll put in never. Were several of the symptoms present prior to age 12? I would say yes. Do the symptoms appear in at least 2 or more settings, for example, school and work? Yes, I do experience ADHD in more than one setting. So my total score is 29 out of 58. The scoring says 0 to 20, ADHD unlikely, 20 to 39, attention deficit disorder possible, 40 plus, attention deficit disorder likely. But one thing about this quiz, I would say it did have the hyperactivity and attention deficit side combined together. So I feel like if those two categories were separate, then my score would be different. So this is just one thing I would fix in this quiz. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and check out my other social media, which is linked below.